What is up, everyone? I'm coming on here for a couple of plays for today. So yesterday, probably our first not so good day in the World Cup tournament, which, I'm glad that I got the message out that I did yesterday, because if you watch yesterday's video, I kind of talked about slow and steady wins the race. Don't increase your bankroll too much. There's going to be, at some point a losing day, of course, guys. If anyone ever comes up to you or is on Twitter or on YouTube or text you, whatever, and they're like, man, we only win. We win 100% of the time. You're never going to lose. You need to run the opposite direction, because that's just not true, right? You can't do that in sports betting, especially when you're trying to get 3-man and 4-man entries. We do have this one set up. This one was kind of a mistake, though, because if you guys don't know, I normally take Valorant guys to go over together, under together in the same game. But for some reason, this guy was on Team Vitality, and then this guy was on Team Vitality Academy. So I took a guy on the Academy, and I took a guy on Vitality, the normal team. And it ends up being that we do have a setup for this, where this guy just needs to go under. So we'll see how this turns out. But yeah, normally I do take guys in the same game, and I kind of messed up because this guy played yesterday, and then this guy plays this morning. If you guys do not know, also, we have been absolutely dominating these PrizePicks plays on this channel. We have hit 4 3-mans in a row on this channel, not in a row, but this past week on this channel, all of these being 5.5x's, 5.75x's we hit the other day. This was the 5.75x that we hit the other day. We hit this 5.5x, we hit this one, guys. All of these right here on this channel. And on top of that, we have another setup going into today, right? Going into this USA game. We took Juan Soto to go over fantasy score last night. He was the first batter, okay? The first batter of this game. It might have been the first pitch. I don't even know. Before I even knew this game started, I looked at his fantasy score and he hit. First pitch, first batter of this game, home run. Home run by Juan Soto, and he gets like 20 fantasy score from that. And then in the third inning, he hits another home run. 2 home runs by Juan Soto last night. So the easiest cash of my life. Literally, you could blink and you would have hit this play right here with Juan Soto. And then obviously we took Tim Ream to go over pass attempts, and we took Weston McKennie to go over pass attempts. I told you guys that Weston McKennie should probably be in like the mid-40s. He has bumped to 42, and then Tim Ream has bumped to 83. There's a guy, I forget his name, but Preston something, and his line is still at 79.5. That's also a really good pick. I pretty much like all the USA guys to go over, because I do think they possess the ball even more than they did versus Paraguay, okay? We also hit right here on Underdog Fantasy for a 3.5x. I love Underdog Fantasy for 2-mans, okay? So I talk a lot about base hits and home runs, right? And what I mean by that is our base hits are, for example, on these discounts with BETR. So for example, with BETR, we have a setup here, a setup here, a setup here, and then one pick that missed, which was this Mexico guy. He didn't get 2 shots. And then we have home runs that we try to hit with like these 3-mans and 4-mans on PrizePicks. And again, the past couple of days, we've been crushing it, right? We cashed 3 of these yesterday. Day before that, we hit 1. Day before that, we cashed a 4-man and a 3-man. So pretty much every day we've been cashing these. And then I guess you can think about this as kind of like a double, so to speak. These 3.5x's on Underdog Fantasy. And the reason why Underdog Fantasy is so amazing is because you get a 3.5x for a 2-man, where in every other app in existence, you'll only get a 3x. So Underdog has way better payouts for their 2-mans in particular, okay? So you need to pick the 2-mans on Underdog Fantasy. The downside about Underdog is you can't correlate things, okay? So for example, we correlate things together in the World Cup. For example, if Tim Ream gets a lot of passes, well, he's probably going to pass a lot to other team members of his, including Weston McKennie. If USA possesses the ball a lot, Weston McKennie's going to go over, and Tim Ream is likely to go over, okay? So this is the same sort of thing that we do over and over again. For example, this was a pick that was discounted for us on PrizePicks and ends up not hitting. But what do you know? What did I do? What did I pair it up with? And I'll probably retake this, is Virgil van Dijk to go over and Frankie de Jong to go over as well. And I still really like this pick. So a little bit of a bonus duo for you, bonus pick for you guys is VVD and Frankie de Jong. I do like their overs in the game versus Sweden, okay, because Sweden is not very good at possessing the ball. Now, I talked about us kind of, missing out on some setups and stuff, or maybe not getting some setups pretty closely. This guy misses by a couple of things here. This Payne guy ends up missing, which was close. And then this guy also in this Switzerland game, which Switzerland did possess the ball quite a lot. And I wanted to take this Grant guy and another midfielder, and the other midfielder would have went over. This defender just ended up not having that many passes. Well, he had 70, so it's still a lot of passes. But the other midfielder that I would have went over. but they were payout shifting me down very heavily because I guess the guys were just like two midfielders and just right next to each other. It's kind of weird how the payout shifts will sometimes work on PrizePicks. Sometimes you can take two defenders right next to each other, they won't payout shift you at all, but sometimes you can take two midfielders right next to each other and they will payout shift you, and you pretty much can't get anything better than like a 7x. So that sucks there. And then in this Canada game, we're actually looking really good for this Canada-Qatar game. And then Qatar gets two red cards pretty much back to back, causing Canada to just finish this game out with like, they probably had like 80% possession in the last 30-40 minutes of this game. Really the whole second half, they had, the other team had 9 members. So if the other team has 9 members, I mean, the team that has their full squad on the field is going to have a ton of passes. And I will say that this guy comes out at halftime, so that's why he only gets 31. If this guy stayed in the game, he probably would have pushed to go over here and win over because, again, Canada had a 2-man advantage pretty much that entire second half, okay? So if you guys do not know, I try to track absolutely everything, PrizePicks Underdog, Better, Sleeper. We're going to get into all of these apps today, and I have more picks for you guys in today's video. So let's get into the Better entry today. Yesterday's Better entry was with Caitlin Clark. Her discount, she easily hits there. Today's Better entry, there's 2 of them. Today's Better discount, there's 2 of them. There's Vinny Jr. to go over shots attempts, and then there's another one with Christian Pulisic. I'm sure it's his shots attempts as well for this USA game starting at 2. But of course, it's a discount, so we're going to take this. This is a like 33% discount, right, if you do the math. So this is a really solid discount. They're facing Haiti, so he should get a lot of shots. Brazil should have a lot of shots. And actually, a little bit of a hint here is Brazil is not a very good possession team. So they have a lot of the Brazilian guys to go and have a lot of passes tonight, but I do not think that they're going to possess the ball as much as they think they will. Of course, I do think Brazil is going to have more than 50% possession and win the possession battle, but Brazil is really not a possession team. They are a attacking team. They have insanely good attackers, but their midfield is kind of lacking a little bit. They have some older players, and their defense is a little bit lacking as well. Haiti, they are just better than Haiti, right? But I do think Haiti is a better team than it really leads on. I do think Brazil maybe will only have maybe 55 to 60% possession in this game, and I think Haiti will surprise some people tonight. But Vinny Jr., we are going to take him over with all that being said, and then we're going to take Wacadia in Counter-Strike tomorrow morning. And we're going to take him under 18 headshots, okay? I like him at 18, and I like him at 17.5. I talk about Better all the time, guys. It's because, again, I talk about these base hits, these singles, and then I talk about doubles, and I talk about home runs, right? The base hits, the singles, is with Better. And with Better, every single month, you can make about $200 to $300 a month like clockwork, right? And I kind of want to draw this out a little bit because I've been thinking about this because, on the VIP, I released this pass yesterday, which was a discounted USA promo code right here. So if you use code USA, you get $15 off of my World Cup pass, so it's only $35 for you today. It's going to be the first link in the description. I'm just going to keep this running, guys. Again, if you purchase it today, it's going to be more value than it is tomorrow. It's going to be more value than it is the next day because you're going to get additional days. But again, if you want to purchase this a week from now, be my guest, right? We're going to cash and profit all World Cup long. We aren't even done with the first round yet. And we just finished the first week of the World Cup, and there's another 4 weeks left, okay? So we still have the round. We still have round of 32, round of 16. We're just starting with this tournament here. So again, $34, $35 to go ahead and purchase my World Cup pass. Again, to maybe if you're confused, you're going to get all of my VIP picks, all right? So it doesn't matter whether you're in the World Cup pass, whether you're in a month, whether you're in a lifetime membership on my VIP. My VIP is my VIP, and you're going to get all my plays. So you're going to get my esports picks, my NOVIG picks, my Better, Sleeper, and PrizePicks picks. And I get this question all the time. PrizePicks, I probably send out 80 to 90% of my plays as PrizePicks plays. But again, do not discount these kind of base hits that I talk about with Better and Sleeper. So, for example, with PrizePicks, we pick this about 80% of the time, something like that, let's just say. And then NOVIG, I probably do 10% of the time. I'll just put this as NOV. We do this probably 10% of the time. And then Better and Sleeper, so I'll do B and Sleeper. We do another probably 10% of the time, right? And with that being said, with Better and Sleeper, you can make, like I say, you can make about, I'll just put it at $250 a month. Again, be my guest. I'm challenging you to download Better and Sleeper, use my code, and you like try not to make $200 with Better and Sleeper because they have 2 to 3 discounts a day. It's so simple to use that. Now that being said, you can make $250 a month with Better and Sleeper and then use 250 of that dollars. So for example, you can purchase my World Cup pass, that's going to be minus 35, and then you will be left with $215 in profit, right? So this is how you need to start thinking about your money and your bankroll and stuff, right? You can use some of this money with 10% of my plays to make $250 a month, spend 35 of it to purchase a month of my VIP for my World Cup pass, and then you can be left with $250. And then on top of that, you will have all of these picks right here. You'll have all of the PrizePicks picks, and you'll have all of the NOVIG picks to just be on top of that, right? So you're pretty much getting my VIP free because I send out these Better and Sleeper picks like clockwork every day. I send out links on your phone, and this, I'm telling you, every day, it probably takes 15 seconds. 15 seconds of your time a day to make $200 to $250 a month on Better and Sleeper. If you guys see the withdrawal in June, guys, I withdrew $350. I'll show you guys the withdrawal in July. It's going to be another probably $250 to $300, okay? So very simple stuff here, and the reason being is because they have discounts like this every single day. So it is Taco Tuesday. If you guys love Taco Tuesdays, Taco Tuesday every day on Better and on Sleeper, okay? So let's get into today's pick on PrizePicks, guys. I know you guys have been waiting for these. These have been absolutely red hot, and we've been red hot on this channel. 4 of these have cashed in the past week. We're looking to get our 5th today in this USA game, okay? These hitter fantasy score lines, I don't talk about them enough, but they are so incredibly good. You could be an expert in just this and make money on PrizePicks, guys. They are so off so many times. I'm going to show you guys why this is so off and why I like this line so much. So hopefully I do have this pulled up. Yeah, I do. So I have his hitter fantasy score pulled up, his last 15 games. And you're going to see really his last like 10 games, he has been on a nice streak here. There's going to be some games where he just kind of does nothing, right? He goes like 0 for 4 and he just gets no hits, right? But the games that he gets hits, and I'm going to show you this real quick, the games that he gets bases, right? Look at his last 15 games on his face score at 3, right? 3 is so incredibly low, it's insane. Most of the time, his line is at 3.5, and this is exactly what I said with Juan Soto. His line was at 6.5. Most of the time, his line was at 7 or even 7.5. This guy's line's at 3 right now. Most of the time, it's at 3.5. But if you compare his hitter fantasy score to his total bases, and you go back and forth like this, right? So hitter fantasy score, total bases, hitter fantasy score, total bases. Hopefully, you guys are understanding that these are the same thing, right? The only time that this is different is he's pushed a couple times, right? He pushes here and pushes here when he does get 3 fantasy score and he gets total bases. But every time that he gets at least 1 base, he hits. Every time that he gets 1 base, he hits his fantasy score, right? So all he needs pretty much is to get 1 base to go ahead and hit this entry. And if you guys see where I'm going with this, if you look at PrizePicks right now, his total bases to get 1 base is a green goblin right now. So PrizePicks is telling you that he's a green goblin. He's more likely to hit this than not hit this on PrizePicks. He's a green goblin to get 1 total base. Now, again, all of the times, I don't know what just happened there, but all of the times that he's gotten 1 total base in the last 15 games, he has also hit his fantasy score because these things go hand in hand. I believe a total base is 3 fantasy scores. So if he gets a base, he gets 3 fantasy score. So in other words, PrizePicks is telling you that you're getting a green goblin line for his hitter fantasy score, but you don't have to pay green goblin prices. You're getting a full payout for this with his line at 3 right now. Now, I will say, if his line bumps to 3.5, don't let that discourage you. I do really like his line at 3.5 as well, but at 3, it's an absolute smash hit. Now, on top of this, and this is a pro tip, is on Underdog. Again, if you don't have Underdog, use code DETECTIVE to get signed up. But on Underdog right now, his fantasy score is at 5.5. So one of these books is off, guys. 3 on PrizePicks and 5.5 on Underdog. And again, I would argue that his line should be somewhere in the middle. I would actually argue that both of these books are a little bit off. I think his line on Underdog is a little bit too high, and then his line on PrizePicks is a little bit too low. And I think right in the middle, about 4.5 to 5 is where his line really should lie, okay? The only difference between fantasy score and PrizePicks and Underdog, because I might get this question, is walks count as 3 on Underdog, and walks only count as 2 on PrizePicks. But that is not enough difference in fantasy score scoring for his line to be 5.5 on one book and 3 on the other book, right? That's a 2.5 difference. That's crazy, okay? So amazing pick here. Hope you guys kind of understand what I'm saying is that he just needs to get 1 base to pretty much push or go over, and his base right now is on PrizePicks. So it's not me telling you guys he's going to get a base tonight, he's more likely to get a base than not, yada yada. It's literally PrizePicks telling you this, right? PrizePicks, it's using these books and the books' lines and how good these books are at setting lines, their knowledge against themselves and saying, look, their line is way off right here, okay? So this is completely off, and Logan O'Hope is going to go, and I do really like this line here. And again, you cannot tell me, even if his line misses and he goes 0 for 4 tonight and he gets no, bases or anything, this is an amazing play. I don't care. I'm taking this pick 100 out of 100 days if the line is like this, right? So this is an amazing play. Again, my main concept here is like, this is a great play. Even if it misses, I'm going to be super, super happy that we took this pick. And this is an amazing play, just like the Juan Soto line was yesterday that went ahead and cashed, okay? Now, the second part of this entry is Ivory Coast versus Germany, okay? And the thing about this, guys, is I think they're discounting Ivory Coast heavily, okay? Obviously, Germany is a really good team. Germany's probably going to have more possession. But I do think Ivory Coast is a little bit slept on in this matchup here. And I think Ivory Coast, I think the magic number is around 42 to 44% possession, okay? So I think if they get 42% possession or higher, they're going to be in good terms to both go over together, okay? So this is a really, this is going to be a really fun game to watch. Honestly, I think Ivory Coast is a solid team. And I'm going to explain why I think that they're a solid team. So first of all, if you look at the friendlies they have played, and I get it. So first of all, if you look at the first round, the first game they played Ecuador. Ecuador's a really solid team, okay? Very solid team. Ecuador might get pretty far in this tournament, and Ivory Coast beat them 1-0. If you look at the possession, it was pretty 50-50, so that's solid from Ivory Coast. Both of the guys that we're betting on, which is Kessie right here, Frank Kessie, he goes way over, and then Dore goes way over as well, only playing, well, he plays 90 minutes, but Dore also goes way over as well against Ecuador. Now, Germany is way better than Ecuador, so don't get me wrong on that. But if you look at a friendly they play against France, they beat France, getting 40% possession. And like I said, France is the best team right now. France has the highest odds to win the World Cup. So they are better than Germany. And Ivory Coast still gets 40% possession. Now, you could, of course, be like, well, this is a friendly, so it doesn't really matter. Who cares? But at the end of the day, guys, look at France's lineup here. They play Mbappe. They played Elise. They played Chouamende. They played Kionte. They played Mchoku. They played Theo Hernandez. And they played their starting goalkeeper, okay? They played their starters in this game, and Ivory Coast beats them. Okay, they beat them, and they have solid possession at 40% against the best team in the World Cup right now, the definitive best team in the international scene. Now, Scotland, they also beat Scotland. Solid squad they beat, right? South Korea, they beat South Korea 4-0, right? South Korea, Mexico played last night. South Korea looked pretty good. Mexico ends up winning from kind of a fluky goal, but South Korea is a very solid squad. And then they lose to Egypt. And then they beat this team, right? But I'm not just cherry picking, guys. These are the last games they played, right? France, they played them on the 4th of June, right? Scotland, they played. South Korea, they played. These are their last games that they have played, right? Ecuador, France, Scotland. So the last game that they have lost is against Egypt over here, okay? If you look at their recent form, they have beat all of these teams except Egypt. And Egypt was just kind of like, whatever, right? I believe they have 71% possession in this game, and they ended up, it looks like they dominated this game. I'm not going to tell you guys that I watched this game because I definitely didn't, but it looks like they have a lot of possession in this game, okay? And they should have won this game even. But with all this being said, guys, I think Ivory Coast is a much better team than these lines are set at right now, and I think they're going to be able to possess the ball more than PrizePicks is leading on, okay? So Germany, Ivory Coast, guys, at the end of the day, I do think Germany wins. They won 7-1 the other day against Curacao or something, how you say that name, and they're way worse than Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast can definitely hold their own. At the end of the day, what you need to understand is that the players we're taking, Dore plays right here, and then Kessie plays right here, okay? So if they do have more than 42, 44% possession, then these guys are going to constantly be passing back and forth to each other, right? He might pass here, then this guy might pass over here, then he might pass here, then back here, then back here. And these guys are just constantly going to be passing back and forth, and this is how soccer works. The main thing about correlation, guys, is we need one thing to happen for two separate outcomes, okay? So instead of taking, let's just say, like LeBron James right here and Caitlin Clark right here, we are taking two players on the same team, and if one thing happens, which this is the one thing, a higher number of possession, if they have 42 plus possession in this game, then both things should hit, okay? And this is the theory of correlation, and this is why we're so profitable over the long run which you guys will see over the past 2.5 years, is because we correlate things together. And this is the strategy that you need to be using in 2026 to win on PrizePicks, right? We're going to be doing this in football. We do this in esports year round. There's Canadian football tonight, right? And in Canadian football, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pair up quarterbacks and receivers to go over together. So if the quarterback has 500 yards, the receiver might have 200 yards. If the quarterback has 100 yards, the receiver's probably going to have 30 yards. So I'm going to take these guys over, or under together, depending on how I think they're going to do. Again, Ivory Coast, I think they're going to have a better game than they lead on. I think they're going to have 40+% possession, and I think they're both going to go over together because they're on the same team, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Again, this is how we've hit the past 4 entries on this channel. You can go back and watch those videos if you want. They are uploaded on this channel here over the past week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and all the love and support I've been getting on this channel recently. Leave a comment down below. I didn't do a jersey giveaway this month, but I want to do a jersey giveaway next month for the World Cup. So name players that you want me to give away a jersey for in the month of July, whether it's on, teams like Germany, teams that are going to get kind of far in the World Cup, because I want to obviously do like a, quarterfinal, semifinal type of jersey. So whether it's like England or Germany or Spain or whatever, some of these teams, and I'll go ahead and give a signed jersey away in the month of July. So leave a comment down below what player you want to see. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.